Tune in tonight, we got a short rib ragu with homemade pasta. You don't want to miss this. All right, so now let's get started. I already got some salt on these short ribs. I'm gonna go fat cap down. I have a little bit of oil and butter in my pan already nice and hot because I want to get a good sear on these. We're just gonna sear these short ribs about 2 to 3 minutes. We're gonna sear it on all 4 sides, high heat to get a nice crust. And then after we're gonna remove them here, build up our stock and reduction liquid, and then we're gonna put them back in here and braise them in the oven for about 4 hours. So after about 2 to 3 minutes, so that's the crust you're looking for right there. Now we're just gonna try to get a nice sear like that on each side. All right, it's been about 2 to 3 minutes on each side. So now that we have these seared, all angles, I'm just gonna remove these off because now we're gonna start to build our braising liquid in this pot. So I'm gonna use the same fat that these short ribs were just cooked in. And then I'm gonna add my Mirepoix, red wine, tomato paste, everything that goes into here, back in here, and then into the oven to finish. All right, now that we have that short rib out, I got my Mirepoix going. I got some onions, celery, carrots, bell pepper. We're just gonna get this in here going. That is, I have 3 carrots in here chopped up. I have about 5 stalks of celery, 1 whole onion, and then I had some leftover bell pepper. So I just chopped that up to just add a little bit extra flavor. You can leave that out if you want to. We're just gonna get a nice saute going on this. I'm gonna add about 2 teaspoons of salt, some fresh cracked black pepper. We're just gonna let this get soft for about 5 minutes. Then after that, we're gonna deglaze this pan with a little bit of tomato paste and red wine. So now that these veggies have been sweating for about 5 minutes, got some tomato paste here. Just gonna add in about 2 tablespoons. And then we're gonna stir this all up for another about minute or so. And then I got 1 bottle of red wine, just a little cheap wine, nothing fancy. That I'm gonna add in here, completely deglaze this pan. I'm gonna add a little beef stock, and then I'm gonna add the short rib back in, and then it'll go into the 350 oven for about 4 hours. So now that we have the red wine in here, I have 1 can of crushed tomatoes that are gonna go in. And then I'm gonna go in here about 1/2 cup of beef stock. Now I'm just gonna let this simmer together about 5 minutes, and then once this comes together, we're gonna add the short rib back to it, and then it's gonna go into the oven. Now that this braising liquid is simmering, we're just gonna go put in our short ribs, get them all submerged. There we go. Now that we have them all in, lid on, into the oven, 350 oven, 4 hours. And while we have the short rib in the oven, let's get started on this pasta. I have 8 egg yolks and 1 whole egg in this bowl. And then I have 1.5 cups of 0.00 flour, just a stronger flour with a little bit more gluten. Makes for better noodles. I'm gonna do a tablespoon of salt and 1.5 tablespoons of oil. Here we go. We have our dough hook on our KitchenAid. Lock it into place, down, turn this on, let it knead for about 8 to 10 minutes, and you'll have your dough. So after 8 minutes, we have our dough ready to go. Pulls off the hook. I'm just gonna go ahead and get a little hand knead for about another minute. Once I finish up with this, I'm gonna wrap it up in plastic and into the fridge for an hour. And then we can cut it after that. Shape in a nice tight ball and be ready to go. So now we got our dough from resting in the fridge. I'm just gonna take the rolling pin out and just kind of get a little rough roll on it. Just kind of flatten out slightly. And then I'm gonna chop it up into some as even sections as I can. I'm going to make a pappardelle pasta. So I'm just gonna get these nice and flat and then roll them out and cut about 1/2 inch thick noodles. So now that I got it nice and flat, Little cut, fold it again. Now from here into our pasta sheeter to flatten out. So now it's gonna be loud, so I'm gonna talk about it before I go. So I'm starting this off on 1, and then we're gonna take it down to a 4. And then from there, once we have it the thick that we want it, then I'm gonna cut it with my knife to make pappardelle pasta. So now we're gonna get started on rolling up this pasta. I'm just gonna roll it, fold it over basically. And then what we're gonna do here, after we get all these rolled up, I'm gonna measure 1/2 inches with my ruler over here. And then we're just gonna cut the pasta just like that and be ready to go. Got my ruler out. Then from here, slice down, all nice uniform cuts, like that. We have pappardelle. So it's been 4 hours and we have our short rib I pulled out and put to the side. The braising liquid has basically reduced down to a nice ragu. And we are going to now put on some gloves. These short ribs are still a little hot. And we're just going to shred this beef and add it into our ragu. So it's a good sign. That is a very good sign. Last one. Oh, there we go. There it is. 4 short ribs, 4 bones. Ooh, this is hot. So with this, I'm just gonna pull off the meat only. I don't want all this extra fat in there. Fat is flavor, but this type of fat just doesn't do it for me. Okay, now that we got all the short rib pulled off the bone and shredded, I've dropped it all into this ragu. Just gonna give it a nice little stir. So I have about 6 basils that I've just kind of roughly chopped up into little ribbons to drop in. Okay, now that our water is boiling, we're just gonna drop these noodles in here. It'll only take about 3 minutes because it's fresh pasta. Three minutes have passed and it's time to get this off this heat. Okay, so let's get this plated. I'm gonna take some of my fresh made pasta noodles. So once we got the pasta in the bowl, gonna get some of our short rib ragu. Get some fresh basil. Sprinkle it over top. A little fresh parm. A little fresh cracked black pepper. Now it's time for the taste test. So I need to mix this stuff up. Now that I got this mixed up, let me get a little twirl action going on. Now we got this twirled up on here, got a little bit of everything on each bite. That fresh pasta is so light. That short rib is tender. It's a home run dish. You're gonna wanna make this.